Hello everybody and welcome to Reassembly Documentium 2, the third installment. It's the second .txt file, so it's technically the second chunk, but this is the third part. Hello everybody, today I'm going to be quickly... Oh jeez. I have an apple and I don't want to knock it all around the place, so I'm going to keep it right there, it should be safe. Alright. Today I'm going to be addressing a number of things. First of all, the beta RWDK versus the RWDK, as in the Reassembly Web Development Kit. So this. Now the beta, or the beta, I actually kind of prefer beta, but I end up saying beta all the time, so whatever, who cares. The beta, or the beta, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm trying to figure out now which one I like more. The beta. I'm going to say the beta, because I like beta. It sounds... Ooh, hello, afternoon. Okay, fair enough. Alright. So, the beta RWDK has the shapes section. Okay, now the shapes section, I don't believe it works very well. Neither do I believe the ships. In fact, I've never really ever gotten a ship to properly import here because it's wipe. So just ignore that. You can easily use the normal default RWDK. Okay, you don't need to worry about the beta. You don't even need to use the beta. Everything that I showed you in the last two things is completely functional within the normal version, of course, naturally. All right, so. Let's get back to the normal version, because that's obviously the one I want to teach for. Right, so, first things foremost, and beer, we're going to talk about preview.png. Now, you may have noticed that in Reassembly we have something called, well, mod previews. You see these nice, lovely, big pictures? Yeah, them. They are created by simply having what we call preview.png. Now, preview.png, for example, for the Centric Fractismia, is quite nice and simple. It's for I believe it's a 720. I think this is a 720 variant. Okay, good. No. Usually keep your previews in a 720 by 1080? Just 10? No, nice. Whatever, figure it out yourself. I can't remember what 720 goes with off the top of my head, because I'm a horrible person. Either way, usually keep your preview files small, because they are the things that use up the largest amount of space. Now, I believe Reassembly has a file maximum of about 4 megabytes, or 5. It's around about 5 to 4 megabytes, 4 to 5, you know. That I have figured out through my own experiences of uploading preview files. They were far too big. Also, the ship's file will obviously take up some space, but it's the preview file that really matters here. Usually keep it to a small, 720p is 720p. Wow, but valid, whatever. 720 is usually a good resolution scale. For your preview. It's high enough resolution, it looks nice, and also it doesn't take up all too much space. So, now, let's talk about making a preview.png. So, let us assume that you have screenshots. Now, for example, here are my screenshots of Reassembly. Now, as you can see, I have a lot, 1,557. So, we're going to ignore most of them, but we're going to take one specific one. Now, I've already taken the liberty of taking this little guy here, okay, putting him onto the desktop and renaming him preview.png. I don't touch the extension. Do not touch the extension. Just rename it to preview, okay? Don't touch anything else. So right-click, rename, then just preview. Preview in lowercase, ladies and gentlemen. Lower case. Okay, so here's a zoom in. Preview.png. Okay, that's all you need. Okay, and then it's fine. Now this is a preview.jpg, or or whatever other format you have. Now an easy way to fix this is to go into Paint. So you can pull up Paint, grab this, drag it in. Just drag, release, drop. It'll drop into there. It'll be here. Go File, Save As, PNG, and then then you can save it to your desktop. Okay, so let's just save it. There it is. PNG, and also PNG is usually better than JPEG, because reasons. So, we can now safely have a preview.png, which we can happily throw into whatever mod we are creating, okay? So here's our preview.png for the Centric Fractismia, and we see modding how to, I made this in the sandbox and with It's just some fun. Okay, so great. Good, that's done and dealt with. Now, the next thing to assess is mirroring blocks. Now, this is unfortunately and egregiously something I did not mention last time. Now, we have here the productive triangulum. Now, if we were to take this into the game, okay, so we were to go sandbox, maximize, thank you, go paletta, eta, it was 50, right? What do I call it? What do I call it? No! No, it is group 50. What have I done? Well, that's awkward. Sure, game. All right. Well, we'll play it your way. Let's just go to the LSN. Okay, so so here we have a block. Okay. Now, usually we'd want to go M and mirror that block. Now, the issue with the triangulum, and I sadly can't demonstrate it right now, is that it is just one of these. All right. Now, this by itself. Okay, so the way we have the... Okay, let me explain this better. The way we have the triangulum set up is that it only has one variant of itself, okay? It, if we were to press M, would stay just like this. It wouldn't do anything. Because it doesn't have a mirror shape set up. It doesn't have an available mirror of its own self. So if we were to go back here, I actually took the liberty and already made a productive triangulum that is the other way around. That is, so this one is right try 2, well, right try 2R, and this is right try 2L. So in the game, if I were to take this and go M, mirror, it would actually flobble over and do the right things, you see? So for the LSN, I of course have 2 shapes for each triangle, which makes life difficult. Ignore that. I need to figure out why 50 isn't working anymore. It doesn't matter right now. It's not important. Well, it is important, but we'll deal with that road when we come to it. All right, give me a second. All right, I figured out what the issue was. I had actually disabled it in my mods area. It was a bit silly of me. So, as you can see, here we have the triangulum, and now if we press M, it will actually go to its other variant. So this is actually this block. This is actually this block, and then if we mirror it, so we have 2 different blocks. Okay, so that's nice. So it actually just converts it into that other block, and then vice versa, and vice versa, of course. So now that actually works. Now, if I didn't have this other block, if I didn't have this, it wouldn't work. This would just, if I were to press M, which I'm not pressing obviously, but to simulate, it would remain as such, you see, and that wouldn't be very useful. Now, next up, so hello, scientific. Anyway, so good. That's mirroring blocks dealt with. So to make a mirror block, simply duplicate whatever the block is. So in this case, the productive triangulum, and then just give it the inverse shape. If you're making your own custom shape, I can't help you. Shapes, I can't help you there. Or more correctly, shapes.viewer. I have not mastered it, so I don't feel comfortable teaching it just yet. Alright. Sorry. Alright. Next up, missiles. Now, people have actually asked me a lot. Laps, how do you make a tracking missile? Now, of course we know how to make a missile. It's quite simple, but a tracking one. Now, here we have the missilic launcher. So I actually took the liberty of adding in a few other things. So I also added in a power generator, because every faction should have a power generator, always. This is one other thing I forgot to do, which is set the grouping on this, but I'll fix that. Yay! Now I can update the mod. Okay. Also, always make sure you have resource storage, please. So power and resource storage are 2 things that are always crucial. Now, for resource storage, all you have to do is set the capacity, and then just dial that up a little bit. Or tick the capacity. Now, for generators, generator capacity. Oh, well, I taught this on the main thing, so of course you know what to do. But always make sure that you have a generator block. Okay, fantastic. Now the missilic launcher. Now I've gone ahead and constructed this whole thing. So we have the missilic launchers, construction launchers, explosive guided rockets. Now I say rockets, missiles, but whatever. So here we have a launcher. Of course, we have it with it has the launcher feature. naturally. And within that, we've defined a block below. Now, you can actually define a block. You can actually just make another block and then tell it to refer to that block. But if you're going to make, say, a launcher, and let me quickly give you why am I blind? It's ordered alphabetically, so I don't know why I'm going mad, but I am. So let's say we have this launcher, and let's reorder from 50,000. No, it was 50,001. Right, that caused problems in the past. Should usually start from 50,000 and 0, not 1, just because it helps with sanity, but it doesn't matter. And by the way, if you ever get to 50,099, just go up to 50,100. That's fine. Okay, so let's say this is the missile. Now, all we can do is go launcher, replicate block, and then we can just type in 50,018, and it will now create this block. Now, this block isn't defined at all, so it'll be like, what do you want? What? And also, it needs its grouping set. Hello, would you like to? What have I done? Whatever, it'll figure itself out soon. Oh no, of course it's not going to work because it doesn't have a launch. There we go. Yeah. Now, you always need to make sure that your block has a launcher hardpoint. That's critical. Now, missile hardpoints, I'm sorry, they don't work. They offer missile bases. You need a launcher hardpoint. Neither do thrusters or weapons, sadly. You need a launcher. I don't believe seeds work. No, they shouldn't. That would be weird. Cannons? No. So you always need a launcher variant of block. Right? Good. You can tell a launcher because there's the red dots, of course. And so that makes you can make it happen that way, or you can just build the block inside of it. Doesn't matter. So what a missile needs is command. It's going to need command because it needs to control itself. It obviously needs explode, needs thruster and torque. Torque so it can turn itself, thruster so it can go forward and back. Well, not back, but forward, etc. And that's all you need for a missile. That's absolutely everything. Do remember, however, to add in where is it now? Free raise. It isn't necessary, but just do it anyway. Trust me. It's always a good process. All right, give me a second. Okay, so we need the command, explode, free raise, thruster, torque, and that's everything. It's absolutely everything. Just remember to set your command to faction 50. Always remember to do that. Beyond that, you can always go into flags and set where's no parent. No parent. This will prevent the missile from returning and hovering around the ship, which is usually something you kind of don't want. You kind of want the missile to go, hurtling off into the distance. So no parent helps. I believe, I might be wrong, that might cause issues. It shouldn't. I actually haven't tested that out sufficiently, I believe. But anyway, or maybe honestly, I just haven't really paid all too much attention when it comes to flags. Sometimes. Sometimes, only sometimes. Okay, good. So now we have the missile. If we go into the game, we can go grab a command core, grab our missile launcher. Pew! It spins. It spins. You weren't expecting that, now were you? Now, why is it spinning? Now, this missile will work perfectly well. I actually need an enemy to test it out. So let's go Fleet 8. There we go. And it misses. So we can just spam missiles into eternity, and they'll follow our target. Follow him! Oh, I love spinny missiles. They're so cute. They're so cute and silly. Oh, spinny missiles. Anyway, so we can leave that. Actually, I'm just gonna select you. Activate. There we go. Now we can have a lovely missile-based. Okay, so that's gonna go on in the background. Now, why is it spinning? That's a very good question. It's because it actually has nothing to do with any of the missile's traits. This has to do with the launcher. Now, The missile obviously has thrusters and groin and all these things. Explode damage, explode radius, torque, thruster force. But what the launcher has is launch angular velocity, or ANGVAL. Now I've set this to 100, which is going to make it spin, as you can see. Where's it gone? It's actually all cleaned out. 50. Let's get a few this time. Just optimally not in that direction. So. It's very cute. So positive makes it spin that way, negative will make it spin that way. There's no real reason to make it, I mean, just do whatever, but I mean, there's no reason to have it go negative really, except for fun and larks, I guess. But I missed. Okay, I'll let the missile do its thing. Okay, so that's the angular velocity. There's also the outspeed, which ensures that the missile is flying out at a set speed when you launch it, which is quite useful because otherwise you'll deploy the missile and then it needs to start moving, which is usually not what you want. So set a bit of outspeed, which is very useful. The launch power is how much power it takes. Yes, to build a single launch block. Yeah, to build, not to, well, sometimes it isn't a distinction. Anyway, you get the idea. And then, of course, we have replicate time. So we have 1 per second. Anything else I need to point out? Why does this have an R capacity? Why? Oh, right, because I was doing something silly with this where it actually... Does it have... I can't remember what I was trying to do, why this has capacity. I think it might actually just be a... I don't know. Whatever, we'll let that slide. Yeah. Okay, good. So that's the missiles over and done with. Now seeds. Now I sort of gave an example with the battle seed launcher, though I can understand if people were confused because after all there was a battle seed, not your regular seed. Although, ooh, I still haven't toned that down. That launch speed is a little too high. So you can see launch out speed is like 5,000. It only needs to be like 500. 500 is fine. That's more than enough. Launch power replicate time is fine. Okay, good. Now, with the seed, okay, so let's actually just go and make, so let's make this our seed launcher. Let's call this the, I don't know, floral disperser. Okay. Let's give it, it's yellow and it's green and it's red. Which way did I have it set up? Completely counter to the way I'm currently setting up. Whatever. She kind of wanted to have its primary be maybe a light green. That's good. That's fine. Actually, that's two. That's two. It's kind of unnatural. It's an unnatural green. Let's put it there. That's fine enough. That's fair enough. We can make that yellow. Okay, that's cool. All right. So now we have this. So now here we have the launcher. So we can set the launcher outspeed to 150. Angular velocity. Let's not have any. Launch power 0. Replicate time 3 per second. So every second you'll be spamming out 3 of them. Let's put it at 0.5 so it takes 2 seconds to build one. No, I've gotten it messed up in my head now. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna live with it. Let's make it 2. Now it's 2 per 1 second. I'm an idiot. Don't worry about it. I'm not in the good head right now. My mind is in madness. Okay, so points, durability, we don't need to set anything else. Let's put this to right click. Actually, let's just leave it as middle click because madness. Okay, so now here we can use this separate block to just make life easier. So here we have our main launcher. It's going to be replicating this block. Now this block we're going to call the scientific floralium. Specimens? Species. Let's say species. That just sounds more fancy in sci-fi, I guess. I don't know, whatever. So okay, so now we have our seed set up. We have our launcher. Let's go to our seed, and now I actually need to find a block that has either a root or a seed hardpoint. Amusingly, so the rectangular root. This is a root hardpoint, but it's actually a seed hardpoint because the same functions with this. So so we could actually have a rectangular base. But instead, I'm just going to take the normal route. Let's click on that, update it. There we go. Good. So now we have a seed. Very nice. The spore of the Centrovac local floral species. Perfect. So let's have it. Yeah, let's keep it scale 1. Color it green. Color me green with intrigue. Anyway, so it's okay. We have that. Let's go to the capacity. So let's give it about 50. Let's go to features. Now is where things get interesting. Just click on seed. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you will ever need if you want a seeder. If you want to give the seed, thruster, you can do that. You can even give it a bit of torque. It'll use it sort of. It'll just kind of fly in that little crazy pattern, which is quite cute. So you can give it that. We can also give it. Where's what I want? Why am I blind? Oh, jeez. Photosynth. I'm mad, Okay, good. So we have photosynth. We want regrower because we don't want it to assemble. We want it to regrow. This means that when it plants and we build something with it, it will regrow its stuff. It'll only build. It won't tractor in missing parts. Okay. Which just makes it a little more realistic, Okay, good. And we can even have int lines on. Int lines just means that the lines between it and other blocks will be shown. Okay. Beyond that, we don't need anything else. So for seed, you just need seed. But if you want the seed to actually grow into a plant, you're going to need regrower. Everything else is just some extra for fun and larks. Okay. So now we have a seed. We can click on this. It'll update. Boom. Done. Now it's got 4 seeds on it. Perfect. Those will work perfectly. Now let's say we want to build something. Let's make a stalk. Shall we? What are you going to say? No. Click on it. Update number. Features. Let's give it. Why am I blind constantly? Int lines. Thank you. It's AB. My gosh. I'd have forgot about it. Anyway, all right. So let's get back to color. Okay, good. Yeah. So now we can have this as the. Let's make it seed 2. Actually, no. Let's just go gem 2. Gem 2. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. I like that. All right. Good. Now let's just call this stalk. Stalk. Oh my carascos. Okay, good. Alright, I'm just going to save this and plop it in. Okay, reassembly has been restarted. We go to sandbox. We're going to go palette 50. Good. Now here we have our floral dispenser, which you'll note that some of these seeds are going sideways, and you might ask why. Now this has to do with the dispensers, with the shape setup, and a few other variables. So this, just to be clear, we did set the seed 1. Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah. It just has to do with the way the block is actually set up and coded sometimes. Not even sometimes, all the time. So right, now we have this. We can pull it over to here. Ba-boom, it'll grow. And right, middle mouse button. There we go, and they'll go sailing off. And by the way, they actually defaulted to thrust and torque since I actually didn't set anything for them. And there we go, they'll go sailing on off. Very cute. Okay, good. So that's it. Now, let's say we want to make a plant. Now, another thing to note, sorry, I need to point this out, obviously, I'm being a silly person. The other thing you need for a seed is not lifetime. You want seed lifetime. Time before the seed expires when rooted. Now, this comes into play when the seed actually lands on an asteroid. So let's set this to, let's leave it 60. Launch speed, launch capacity. Now, launch capacity is how much resources it either begins with, or no, launch resources is how much it starts with. Launch capacity is how much it can hold. Yes, for example, if it had photosynthesis, of course. So we'll leave it at 100, but this is 50, so it'll always start with 50 resources. This is not a free raise. Free raise obviously means that, amongst other things, it means the block doesn't need resources to do things like make ships. Also means that the block, when destroyed, or when it degrades, or when it deconstructs, when it expires, doesn't drop any resources. So that's free raise. I think I've explained that before. I believe. I'm not too sure. I think I have. Anyway, so yeah, we can set photosynthesis per second to 1. That's fine. Thruster force, torque of. Let's just set this down to 5,000 and 5,000. Okay, good. I'm fine with that. Okay, so seed lifetime is 60. So that's how much. This is its lifetime when it's rooted. Launch lifetime. Now this is when it's actually launched and flying around. I'm going to keep that as -1. So launch lifetime is when it's actually launched from the launcher. How long will it stay around? Now I'm going to say about 10. Okay. Now this will affect it only when it's launched from a launcher. This will affect it only when it's planted on an asteroid or something. Usually you want this time to be quite big, because you obviously want to give the plant time to grow and stuff, etc. The lifetime just controls the block's default degrade time. Leave this as -1 always, because otherwise you'll be building your plant, and then in the middle of everything, it'll poof away or whatever. And you don't want that. You don't want to be fighting the degrade time. So yeah, so here we have a little plant. We can just build it with whatever blocks, then go press 2 to go into command mode, click on it, and go export. I'm just going to call this ORS plant 001. Should probably just also. Okay, good. So that now it's exported. Now I just need to minimize this, close everything, grab it. So we have the plant. Grab the set back for Tismia, ships, rename. So this is 50 TOF. Oh, of course, TOF. I see. Oh, I see how I originally named this. Whatever. 50 underscore TOF. Yeah, plant 001. Perfectly fine. Cut this. Put it in here. Great. Now we can just relaunch Reassembly. Ba 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 ba. Ba-dum ba-dum ba-da ba-da dum bum ba-da ba dim dum dim dim ba-dum. Ba-dum ba-da ba-dum bum ba 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 ba-dum bum ba bum ba bum bim bum 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 bim ba boo dum ba-dum ba-da ba-dum bum bi-dum ba-dum bum bi-dum ba-dum ba-dum bo. Okay, sorry, my apologies. My deepest and most sincere apologies. Alright, so we're going to just go palette 50. Great. Take this. Take some of our gnarly thrusters. Our gnarly roosters. Roosters. Thruster roosters. Raster, Easter, Frister, Creaster. Whatever. Okay, so we'll take that, and we'll take our seed launcher, put it on the front. Okay, we'll fly it over to these. Now, the nice thing is that these are, what's the word, environment blocks. So if we middle click, there we go, they're planted, and they'll begin to grow. Wonderful. Now, it's important to note that once the command core expires, these other things will not necessarily expire either. Usually you want all these blocks to have their own expiry as well. So for example, we can go in here and set stalk to have a lifetime of. This is also very difficult because, in fact, it does. No, I believe the stalk should. No, it does default to lifetime. Okay, great. No, that's perfect. Yeah, so you can see its lifetime is ticking down. So its rooted lifetime. I don't believe it actually has any capacity when rooted. That's an issue. Let's go to syntax for Tismia. Capacity 50. Either way, okay, so now we can just wait for it to degrade. You can see that one of them is already. And there we go, beautiful, perfect. But it left no resources. Interesting. Whatever. So that's just the seeds for now. And plant's done. Custom structures. Now, custom structures is if you wanted to take, for example, the London Defenders, the original. The London Defenders have the root deployer, launcher deployer. Oh, that's the non-customizable variant. We want that's the Weaver drone. Yeah, we have the DSRN, or I can't remember how I named it. Yeah, the DSRN, the designable, the deployable structure root system, whatever. So basically, the ability for players to make their own structures and have them both spawn in the world as well as be deployable to the world. Okay, so now that functions pretty much identically to the sort of whole seed area, only they don't have lifetime, or more quickly they have a lifetime of -1 since they are structures, naturally. And the actual seed part is going to be different. So if we go here and we're going to call this, we're actually going to make my life. I'm actually going to make my life easier. Just clone these things. We're going to make this refer to. Okay, so we're going to make this refer to 521 or 50,021, whatever. So it's now referring to this. Now we can now configure this to be a rectangle root. We can say, okay, you have intlines, verticin 3 grow seed thruster talker. That's all perfectly good. But we're also going to give it command. Now command means that it will actually, be not only will it be able to use weapons and build things, accept resources, do all those sorts of nice fancy things, but it will also be able to be selectable by the player. So now if I take this and I change its shape to let's find a nice let's find a nice one. Actually use I don't think the seed launcher will work. What did I use for my other faction? Where did I put it? Oh, so I remember what I did. That's fine. Okay, so we're just going to take the rectangular launcher. Okay, so here we are. Now this is now going to launch this scientific structurium. So this is a call for an scientific structure. Okay. Now this is going to function a little differently. We don't want seed lifetime. I'm going to set this to -1. Launch lifetime, always let launch lifetime be a number, because usually you don't want the world to be spammed by lots of random guff. Now capacity, we can leave it at photosynth per second. I don't want any photosynth per second. In fact, I don't even want any photosynth at all. This doesn't need to be a regrower. This can be an assembler, or it can be a regrower, depending of course on how you want the actual block to work. Let's let this be a sort of yellowy red. Okay, good. Good, great. And that's it done, except for one thing. Root. Now, this combination of root, seed, command, and stuff can generate problems. You'd be surprised. Now this is fine. It has the command, so it's selectable. Okay, so I'm just going to save this and import it, and this should work perfectly. Give me a second. Okay. Oh, wrong one. There we go, perfect. Okay, so now we have the new blocks. So we're going to take this, we're going to take the reassembly call. I'll probably give it a few thrusters, eh? Am I right or am I right? Of course I am, eh? I don't know what I'm doing. Right. Good, we'll take this, we'll fly it over here. And good, and it'll root itself. And if we go escape, tab, ooh. Now you can see it's being selected. The only issue is it doesn't have any blocks on it. Now this is where... wrong. This is why you actually need to build some structures with it in the first place. So let me... Why is this purple? Why is that purple? Oh right, because I removed the primary color. I forgot about that. So that's something interesting to keep in mind, that you should always fill in these two colors, because otherwise it could leave a purple glitch. So you can see its secondary color is here, and then it's going to fade back into its primary non-existent color, which is just going to default to the universal sign of a glitch, which is purple. Doesn't matter though. We can take thickening structuring, and we can now always remember to build on the white square side. The yellow square side is the part that will route to a building. So we can now take you like that. Put a gunerator here. Give it a Modification, Provident. Give it a few PD guns. Oh, let's also show you how to make point defense weapons. Did I show? I don't think I did. I don't think I showed how to make point defense weapons. That's terrible of me as well. Let's give it a missile launcher as well, because I'm a terrible person, obviously. Okay, great. We go export TFO. Defense facility, TFO. Okay, great. That'll work fine. Give me a second. Great. So here we have the facility 001, which is just sort of my naming convention for it right now. Okay. Okay, while we wait for that, let me show you how to make PD. So a PD gun, here we go. I'm sure I showed you this. Either way, so if we want a PD weapon, we just need a normal weapon. However, we're going to enable auto fire. So you can see here, let's go, tick auto fire, and also just set its binding ID to point defense. That usually just makes life a lot easier. Okay, and then this way, this gun will always target, obviously, things that need to be point defended, or defended against from a point, or point. It will always point defend. Always defend points. Anyway, so yeah, it'll always shoot down missiles and drones, etc., and enemy ships. So good, that's going to work. Now we can go to the sandbox. Pallet 50. Pull you here. I actually like this the other way around, because then it kind of looks like those, the proper entrance and stuff. Okay, great. Also kind of looks like a bird, I guess, if I actually think about it. Yeah. Anyway, all right. I guess we've kind of made a duck. Anyway, great. Now we can fly in. Give it a little hold X to stop myself. Middle mouse button. Boop. Good. It's going to build itself, and it should have its lifetime. Yeah, its lifetime is infinite. That's fine. Good. And now it will slowly build itself based upon the actual block build rates. Great, and that will be the birth of our facilities. Pop. Pop. Ooh, that was a miss. Either way. Great. Fantastic. And now we have a bunch of structures. Now if we select this, escape. Great, this puts us into normal game mode. If we do tab and 3, it'll bring up that. This works a bit of course, because tab is linked to my no. This just doesn't work in Sandbox, sadly. Anyway, trust me, it's there. It's just that it doesn't let you see it. So you'll be able to see it properly work in the campaign, or not all but in the campaign. So that will deploy itself and work properly. Great. And so that's everything dealt with. So yeah. Alright, everybody. So, once again, a pleasure to teach. Hope you all got what you needed out of this. So, okay, that's a little vicious. How about I show you the LSN can do. Fleet 33. Oh, that doesn't help. Well, we just have a couple of Verendies. That doesn't help at all. Let's do Fleet 33. Much better. You're right. Yeah, show them what for, LSN. Show them what for. So until next time, everybody. Cheerio.